Thank you so much.
Thank
So,
you.
I welcome everyone to my session on managing and customizing security for Microsoft Teams. And today just before that, a little bit about myself. That I'm a Microsoft MVP for Office Apps and Services since 2015, and I was an MCT regional lead for Pakistan chapter and an active MCT for past 11 years. I having a experience of over 15 years of working on Microsoft technologies, and I'm working on a couple of my customers are Fortune 500 companies, and so it's a very and throughout my career I work on Microsoft tools and technologies. I studied as a developer and then started working as a consultant and architect on Microsoft Server technologies. Right now, I'm working as a senior Microsoft consultant for PCM, which is acquired by Insight, which itself is a Fortune 500 company in US. And if you want to reach out to me, you have my contact details. So you can reach out to me at Twitter. And recently, I also have started my YouTube channel where I will be sharing some of the technical trainings on these two technologies and especially on the security and handouts so that if anyone want to reach out, then they can follow this URL here. And you can also take the screenshot if you need that. So today the topic which we are going to discuss is very interesting topic and one of the very important topic because we are living in a world of data and even in teams we know that we are already managing security through Office 365 and there are users available. And there are administrators available who are managing these securities. But there are also securities for the containers. Containers, I mean that like Microsoft Teams itself is a container application. If we talk about Microsoft Groups or SharePoint sites, then how to manage security of these and because I recently after COVID-19 I have been approached by different schools and different institutions for and even different software companies who wanted to explore who wanted to use Teams for their internal as internal workspace and how they can communicate and how they can have different channels or different teams for different working. So the defaults they were using a default settings, but they having some issues on that. How they can manage security for different within a team, how they can customize the security, because out of the box you do not have much options available. So I will try to cover maximum things from very low level to high. And in this session, I will be discussing about the very basic private and about info about public and private teams, and then guest access, that how you can enable guest access and how you can customize the organizations which include your vendors or your customers who can access different teams, and what will be the access level they will have, and what are the different channels, different ways of allowing different organizations. And then I will, at the end of the channel, I will also let you know, I will give you a brief overview and demonstrate you how we can create the sensitive labels for your organization for different containers, which include teams, your SharePoint sites, your groups, and even your Outlook, and also how you can secure your content, which include your documents and emails, which you need to be secured for NPI data. Because recently we got requirements for these from our few of the Fortune 500 companies that they have a highly secured content which they need to customize and also want to share with some of the vendors. So how we can manage those things and what are the options available. So I will try to cover some of the areas so which could be useful for all of us, because I'm also learning these days because there are changes coming up every day, and there are also some limitations which are and there but there are workarounds to overcome those limitations. So I whatever explaining here, that will be based on my experience with all these areas. So first of all, before we start, I'm sharing a link with you all here for a short survey. I'm sharing the link on chat so that we can have a hold on just a second. I just shared a link on the chat window. You can also type in on your screen so that it's a small survey, and this is required for just for the info that when we are going forward, I can have an idea that what experience you have with the Microsoft tools and technologies, so that I can also move accordingly. And if someone who don't have experience of these areas, then I can slow down on those areas and try to brief can explain in more detail. I'm just opening the survey on my window also. So you will see there are 4 to 5 simple questions on the survey. You can fill in those questions, and if anyone is facing any issue, then they can just update me on chat. Right now, I have given a couple of online sessions due to COVID-19, and before that, I was I always felt more comfortable with the online sessions. With in-person sessions. When I studied online sessions, it was very hard for me to interact with the audience. So what practice I have started at, I have started created surveys like this, which I will be asking during the session to engage the audience with me and also get the input from them on different scenarios. Haven't got any response on the survey yet. I will just wait for a few more seconds to verify if if we can get any response. Mhm. Okay, I'm moving forward to the next topic here. So, if we talk about Microsoft security in Teams, there are basically three types of security available in Microsoft Teams. One is public, then private, then organization-wide. Public means any member of the organization can join the team. Whenever you go to Microsoft Teams, you will see that if there's a public team, you will see created on your organization, you can see that team. And when a private team is created, it will only those users users need to be manually added by the team owner. That only those will have access. Those could be guest users or could be from your organization. An organization-wide team is that where all the users, either those are guests or part of your organization, can see that team and they can access that team anytime. All those are member of that team, and we will also see that how we can allow. You can also add guests to your teams, um, and you can also specify the organizations for the gas access. And normally, the gas organization can be specified on the SharePoint Admin Center directly, which is directly available there. But using the sensitive label, you can also specify on sensitive labels that you can prepare those policies that how which type of teams will have can have can allow guest users, and which specific organizations are allowed for a specific team. So this is how you're going to create the governance of your tenant. And if I go to next slide here, now I'm going to walk through you how to creating a team, and then we will start the customization of the team using different during different tools, different ways. So I'm going to the team here. This is and before that, first, I will let me create the team here. I am logged in with 3 different accounts for this session. I created this as a dev tenant, and the purpose of asking that survey was that if you already have a tenant or not, then you can create a developer tenant, which allows you to 3 months trial, 3 months access for which can be easily extendable, and you can play around with all these things. So here I already have few because this is a demo tenant for me, and I already have created few of the teams here. So now I'm going to create a team site. If you are already using Microsoft Teams, then you can see the similar options here. And when I create here, you will see that there are it only showing me two options here which are disabled, and it's not showing me the organization wide option. And it's showing me sensitivity, choose sensitivity, because I already have enabled sensitivity on my on my tenant. That's why it's showing up this option to me, and I need to select any of the option here. And these are I created different level of sensitivity, and like for private teams only, it will only allow me private teams, and on these private teams I created it a way that only internal members are allowed, and external teams, private external. And for example, if I'm going to create this public internal team, so all the it could be public or could be organization wide, but I'm instead of that I will create this one private external, because I enable guest access on this one, and we'll name it as project green. And here I can add some of the users here. And right now, what I'm doing, that most of the users which are doing are already doing this thing, that they are assigning members and giving them either honor or member access. I am adding Alex, and Adle, and I'm also adding Adnan Amin as a guest, because it's a guest user which I already have added to the tenant. So I'm adding it as a guest user, and I will also can define the access for these users. I'm just setting it as an honor, and now I'm saving these changes. And now, for just to let you know that because I already have applied a sensitive level on this one, I'm just creating another team to show you that how that external user is not allowed for some of the teams. For example, if I'm using this private internals, I'm creating a team here, project red. It will allow me to select any of the internal user. Alex is allowed here. If I try to add Adnan, it will not allow me. It's showing me the internal user, but not the guest account. The guest account, if I try to add by email address, it's not allowing it. I'm just creating this team if we can use that. So this is how I have created the teams here. And if I go to this team, I think its site collection is also created. No, it's still not created here. It will take some time, and in a minute it will get created. And from there, I will let you. We can go forward for further customization on the security level. Right now, any member who joins this team, for example, if I go with the Alex account here, right now I'm logged in here with the admin account, with the demo account, and it's the global admin. Alex, I edit Alex as a Alex as a mm, owner for the team, and you can see the both teams which I just have created are also available here. And if I go to the file section of Team Green, hopefully it will start showing me the documents content here. Now I think the site is created here, and I will also go to the window of Adley, which I also have added as a. You can also I added Adley only on Project Green. You can see that Adley is a member of the Project Green. And now I'm going to the for the customer. Let me check if there we have the next option on slide. Before moving forward, I'll let me explain you few more things that you are if you have started your tenant for the very first time, you need to enable the guest access, or you will go with the default settings. And for the even if you are applying the sensitivity labels, then you have to enable the guest access on for your tenant. Right? That's all depend on your organization policies. For this tenant, what I have done that I have created I went to the home of the organization's admin panel, and from here I'm going to the settings and organization settings, and from here or from organization setting you can enable or disable the guest access for the teams. And there are multiple ways for doing that. You can do it from directly from here, or you can go to the team admin center, like if I go to the teams admin center, or or you can also do it from the using PowerShell, that you can enable the external access on the teams and also on Office 365 groups. And similarly for from here you can also enable for the SharePoint sites. But there is another option on available on SharePoint sites. If you go to the SharePoint admin center, which will be like this, and I'm just going to open the active sites. We'll just create this project green site, and if I go to project green site, you will see that if I go to the permissions here, because I already have applied policies here, otherwise it will have the option to share and it will allows us normally what happens that it give us the option to external sharing, and also we can define the domain external domains which are allowed to be added to the team. So I'm going back to the team here. Let me just check the PowerShell slides here. Okay. So now I'm going to customize the security for the teams, and we'll see that what would happen. Right now, I just want to show you a few of the things here. That if you check here, with this is the demo account. Yeah, this is the guest account, and you can see that I have access to this project green site and which I have created, and I can add something here, and I have access to wiki and also have access to files. Right, I can upload files and I can make an customization to the files, and similar access. Adley also having the similar access. Now I'm going to the SharePoint site. Here I have the options now. This is some of the thing which is required to customize the security for the team internal team content, and there could be multiple channels on your teams, and one of the so what you can do that you can go to the site advanced advanced permissions, and here these are if you are familiar with SharePoint, then these are the default security mechanism for the SharePoint, and all the users who are part of the having the member access on the teams, and we have seen the scenario that user want to restrict the user access who are added on the teams. If I go to this one, project members, and you will see that project lead members are part of the members group. It means that they have added access to on all the content. If I remove this user from here, now let's check what will the output for the Adley and Alex, because so Alex is the site owner, so there will not be any change for Alex on this window. You can see that this is the Alex window, and there is no change for Alex here, and Alex can see all the options here. And if I go to Adley here, you will see there's a change for Adley. Adley can't see any of the document, and Adley can't see any of the wiki content because she is not part of that members group now. So what could we do now? I'm adding, and there are and why we need these things. Why this is required? Because I have seen the requirements, like as I mentioned earlier, that due to COVID-19, there are different organizations who contacted me, even education institutes, and they have a requirement that they need user access to their folders only, or even there are different channels within a team site. The channels can only can modify content of which are assigned to them only. So using that, and now here is the part of if you are familiar with SharePoint security, this is the area where we can play with this SharePoint security. Now I'm going back to the site, and I'm going back to the security groups here. And on the visitors, I'm adding a new that project Green members group. Now, if you can see, now let's see the difference here for Adley. If she can still see the documents, or and let me also upload a few of the documents here from Alex screen. I'm uploading these two documents. So now you can see that Alex can view the documents, but she have option to view and download and sync, but she cannot modify document or upload a document because she having the view access on this one, and from here she can still post something. Hello. She have the permissions to post on the on the feed here, and now she also have access on wiki, but she cannot modify wiki content. She actually, because wiki required edit access, so she do not have access on the wiki still do not have access. And if I go to Adnan, which is an external user, he also having the similar access. Wiki is not accessible. And now what I will do next, I'm going back to the security here. And this security can be managed by either by admin of the SharePoint, or site owner can also manage this security. So if there is a team owner, he or she can easily manage this security for the organization, for his or her team. And I already have given read access to this on project Green members here, and I'm now going back to the members group and adding again the security group here, so that user will have the administrative access, the edit access on the documents so that they can view. Now I'm going to the team of Adley. Now here you can see that the options are available back, and the wiki is also enabled now. So, but what now? And now I'm going to the document library for the customize these options, because you know that the journal is a separate journal having a separate folder on the document library. So I will go back to the SharePoint site. I will go to the documents, and I will from here I will click on the permissions there. And I will stop the inheritance here. This is how we can restrict the user access from the folders here. And here we might need to, based on our requirements, we might need to create multiple security groups so that instead of manually adding users, we can restrict them. And here I'm just removing this security group here. But I want, as for the requirement that the external users, if there are scenarios like that, guest users can view the content, but only the members, the internal users can modify them. And so what is required here in that case, that you can, uh, I'm going to add Adili as a contributor here. S- So what happens when I have added the group back to the members folder, that the wiki and the other areas will be available for the user to be accessed, even if there is a Teams note OneNote, then that they can also add their customization. They can add notes there. Now I'm going back to the uh, so you will not see any difference here. User can upload files, Adley can upload the files. These all options are available here. And similarly, she can also modify wiki here. But now if I go to the guest account, and for guest account, you will see that on journals, user can do not have option to upload a file or add a new file, but but the user can download the file or can view the file. But now external user can also modify the wiki section. So this is how we can customize the security for the teams using SharePoint. And this is very valuable for the, and if you are already having expertise of working with SharePoint securities, you can further customize it based on that. There are requirements that no one can delete the files. You can create custom permissions for that, and you can play around all those things. Now I'm taking to you, I'm going back to the slide, and let's see the next section. So customizing user permissions to teams. We already have discussed this thing and walk through it. If you have any question on this section, you can also add your question in the comment section. So I can also take a look on to that. And now I'm going to sensitivity labels, because recently I created a demo tenant and have enabled sensitivity labels on that one. So why these are required? Because there are requirements from different teams and organizations, like the approach when we can normally, what happens that whenever you create a new tenant, you are going to, if you need some customization for the teams, like allow guest users for a team, or disable guest users, or specify the any specific domains to be allowed as a guest user. Those are things which normally we are going manually doing on the teams and also on the SharePoint sites. So, but with using these group policies, using these sensitivity labels, we can create, we can apply these scenario, these policies. Either we can call them organization-wide policies on the containers, which include Microsoft Teams, Office 365 groups, SharePoint sites, your Exchange, and also can apply on the documents and contents. We can specify the sensitivity levels for them, so that for the secure content also, that how it will be. And we can also control the access for that for all that content that can only be accessed through the uh, through the web, or through the managed devices. What are the managed devices? Those are devices which are attached to your domain using iTunes, or on the devices which are already registered on your Azure AD, like your phones or your laptops. So those are all called managed devices, uh, and these are and you can also allow some of the content which can be accessed from anywhere, or you can also specify that if there are some documents you do not allow to copy, or you do not allow to print them, or you want to restrict the download of the documents and can only be viewable on from browser. So this is how you can achieve all those things. So right now I will demonstrate the settings which I have done for the sensitivity label, which I have applied on this demo tenant for different here. And one more of the thing that which I mentioned is mark the content with header, footer, and the watermark. That how you can on the sensitive documents you can encrypt them, and you can also add your specific branding, organization branding for them. And let's see that what options are available here. Now, there are few things which you need, as I told you earlier, if you are going to enable sensitivity labels for your organization, you make sure that you have enable them on my guest access on Office 365 groups and the SharePoint site, and also on the team tenant. And you need to go to the security or compliance center for modifying for adding a new sensitivity label or modifying the sensitivity labels. I'm going to classification, and here you will see the option for sensitivity labels. I have created a couple of sensitivity labels, and if I explain, and this is the, and you can also set the orders of that one, that which one should apply first and which one will be the highest priority. So I have there are options to create the sensitivity labels, and like if I go to the public internal, on this one I only allowed, I just use the public internal. I haven't enabled encryption on this one because I am applying these on containers, and I have separately created the sensitivity labels for the documents on emails, which I will show you later. So I go to next, and here you have content marking if you're doing it enabled, but this is at the container level, so I do not need them. And one more thing, before you will not, when you go to your sensitivity labels, you will not see this option available to you. So you need to enable that. And how you can enable that? You need to go to the you need to open your PowerShell script. You need to run a few PowerShell scripts, which you can see here. That you need to, and this is a on this laptop I haven't installed any development tool or anything. So what I have done, that I have run that install a module for Azure, and for Azure this command, and then connect it to Azure AD using my global admin account, or whatever the access required for the creating this. There are a couple of roles which are required for creating sensitivity labels, and then I created the template IDs, and With this one, you can settings dot values. If I run this one, it will show me the enabled values on my tenant, on this tenant. So then it was false. The first one is enable MIP labels. And it was false earlier, so I enabled it using this PowerShell commandlet, and then I set it and checked it again, and it got enabled, and it has taken some time to provision on the tenant. So for me, it has taken a couple of hours, for almost more than 4 hours at least, because I checked it for almost 3 to 4 hours, and it wasn't enabled at that time. So once it enabled, and it will allow you to what options you want to select. Either it's public, private, or I have selected this as a public one, and here I allow full access from desktop apps, mobile apps, and web. um, for mobile apps and web, and allow limited access for web access only. That the option which I'm telling you, that user can only, all the users within the organization can only access from the web only. But this is not feasible for all scenarios, because there are some limitations for the office files, some of the office files which can't be viewed properly on web, especially in case of Excel files where you have some complex formulas and the file size is more than 50 MB. So you can allow full access, and you can also block access, that the user can't access in certain scenarios. And next, here I'm not labeling it for auto labeling for office apps. This is I'm skipping for now. And here I can review all the settings here for this organization. Similarly, I have created for the private internal, where I have selected the different option, and here I allowed the guest accounts, I believe. Let me verify this thing. So one option which I missed earlier was that external users access. We need to enable this option if we are creating any of the group, and this is not, if this one is not enabled, the external user can't be added to that against that sensitivity label. So this need to be make sure that this is enabled for the team. Similarly, I have created two more sensitivity labels for the containers. These I have created for containers level, so that can be applied at the organization level, and these are the two which I created for the documents and emails. If I added that one, because I marked it as a confidential, so I haven't marked the encryption on that one. Because if I apply encryption on that one, it will give me a couple of options here, which I will show you on the next one. And on the content marking, I added some watermark that whenever on the documents, and also customization tags. And I do not need any side of group. This can be applied throughout the company on all the documents where it will be selected. And similarly for the I'm for the auto labeling, because auto labeling will require a couple of things, couple of customizations, which I'm not going to explain here, because that will require 3 to 4 level 400. And if I go back to the last one, which I marked as highly confidential. Why I marked it highly confidential? Because there are requirements for content which having NPI data on them, and there we need the highly secure documents, so which can't be accessed directly. And here, if you can see that I have applied encryption on that one, and assigned permissions to that user access the content expires never. I'm not expiring the content, and allow offline access. I can allow or never or forever, that it cannot be the document can't be viewed outside my organization, or if someone download that document and can't, they cannot access that. And here You can see that I have added two of the users as a one as a reviewer or one as a coworker. And if I show you that what are the permissions they have, and here we can also specify groups, domains which are allowed. If I am allowing guest accounts, then I have to add the guest accounts domains here. And if and these are the permission levels which a co-author is having almost all the permission except expiry and edit rights for the authors, owner having the full access, and reviewer having limited access. Like reviewer can modify and do certain things but can't do all of the changes, because reviewer cannot print the document or cannot create a copy of the document. And similarly, we can also customize the permission, or viewer can only have the view access rights. And now if I go to any of the site here, right now, and let me show you one more thing, because I have created two of the sites earlier with the sensitivity levels. And if I go there, and there are a few limitations that you cannot create the sensitive levels directly from everywhere. That, like, if I'm going to this team and I'm creating a team site here, and I can select the sensitivity level for the container from here, which you have seen earlier. But if I am going to create a team from the team admin center, I will not have an option to select the sensitivity level from there. So I need to apply that manually. Let me show you. I'm going to create a new team. So here I will not get the option of the sensitivity level. You can see here. I only have private, public. So now I am going back to the SharePoint site to and so here on the teams, if you see, I'm going to Alex screen, and you will not see, and because these are the two teams, team green and team red, already having I already have added sensitivity labels to them, but you can't see any of the sensitive level. You can't see that if it's showing you the option that sensitivity level is applied here. If I go open in SharePoint, you will see that there's a um, text written under the site title that it's a private group and private external. This is the level of the sensitivity which is applied here. And I also have added the sensitivity level to the documents here, so you can also see them also. So we recently have created one the site uh, for the project green. So we haven't applied any sensitivity. We are using a default sensitivity label for the project green. I will go to the documents here. And for example, I'm going to do day 4 document and will apply a sensitivity label out to the document. Here you can see all the sensitivity, it's showing all the sensitivity label documents. Because I haven't enabled encryption or document level branding things on the container levels, so I will select only these two. Because being an admin, these need to be designed in a way that you can understand that which level need to be applied. And I have selected the confidential on this one. And now going back to the documents. And also applying. Now I'm opening it in SharePoint and just will add, because right now you can't see that sensitivity column here. So I will modify the view here, edit current view, and we'll add the column here on the view. So the column is added here. If I go to journal and I'm logged in using Alex account. Now I'm going to the second document and will apply the sensitivity level to highly confidential. So now you know that I have added a guest user, Alex and Adley to the SharePoint sites. So if I go to the from Alex screen and I will refresh the document from here, and you can see that it's showing me the options here. And if I instead of from here, I'm going to the opening it in SharePoint, and we'll see that the options that if I open it on the browser. Because if you remember that the confidential one was the one where customization, few of the customizations were allowed, and sensitivity level is confidential. So I will, if I take a print of this one, let's see what will show up. You can see the watermark which I have added on my policy here, and also there's some text on the footer with the document. And if I go back to the second document from the Alex view, there are a few policies which are because she was added as a reviewer. We can download the document, or I think something is. I will check that because the download option should not be enabled for her. And now I'm going to the external user because I haven't assigned any access for the external user, and it will be the confidential should be shown, and but for the encrypted one, for the highly confidential should be restricted for the user access. Now I'm going to Project Green again, files. Now I'm going to first. It should be gone. I think something went wrong. Let me mark it as confidential. Somehow it's not showing up. Let me check the document. So here, if I open the document, it's showing me that because I do not have any access on the document, so it's showing me the document, but with the watermark and all those things. So I'm closing this document, and now I will. If I now I'm going to open the highly confidential document. So here you can see that it's not showing me the document here, and surely there was a problem, and we cannot open this document. And it should show the relevant message, because if I open it on SharePoint, it will show me that the reason for the. I have few more minutes, so here you can see that it's showing me the error message that the document is protected by a rights management service such as Azure Information Service. It's not the exact not the relevant message, but that it should be like the default message should be like that it's a secure document. So now I'm going back to the document and try to download this document. the document is downloaded successfully. And because on this machine, my user is totally different because it's my personal laptop and not an organization laptop. So it should not allow me to open that document. You can see here it's configuring your computer for information rights management. Let's see what it will show now. Show when I open the document on local machine. Because I am an external user outside the organization and I'm trying to access that document. It giving me this error message that you need to switch the account because you are not the relevant account. And when if I have managed that, if I also have managed the created the sensitivity label for the managed devices and unmanaged, then even I will not allow to open that document on my local machine. And similarly, if I try to this one, if I try to download this one, so I am able to open this document, but it having the watermarks. And can I copy the content here? Can I take the print? I can take the print of this one because this is here on this document. I only applied the watermarking and footer, and I'm. So that's what I was planned to share today to all of you. So let me go back to the very first slide. So what we have learned today, that an overview about a basic overview about Microsoft Teams security and creating public and private teams, and then allowing guest access, that how we can restrict the guest access for specific domains or organizations, which is required in case of you have or your organization want to allow some of the vendors or some of the customers to access some specific teams, and how we can create sensitive labels for the teams or SharePoint sites, or also for your Outlook and content, and how we can restrict the user access from based on the sensitivity of your document. And we can even also automate. I haven't automated that sensitivity levels, but that can be automated based on the your organization policies. That will require a couple. You need to run play around with couple of PowerShell scripts and things. And for and if you want to reach out to me, here is my blog and other details, and you can reach out to me from these forums. And because I will be uploading training videos about how to configure sensitivity labels, and what are the advantages and what are the risks which are available, because there are also a couple of limitations which you, if you go to the Microsoft site on docs.microsoft.com and search for the sensitivity labels, and you will see the complete documentation about what are the steps, how to configure these things, and what are the limitations which are still available, because Microsoft is already working a lot on these areas, and they are minimizing, they are giving more and more options on daily basis. Because I have checked in a month before, there were few options were different, so it's coming. They are updating it on quite fast. So let me know if you have any queries, then I can answer that, because we have almost 4 minutes left. And let me also.
That was a very good session, Adnan, and nice way to present all this sensitivity labeling and other elements, which is brilliant. The way we actually saw the previously from the Jasper session is like controlling the messages within the team itself, whether it has any sensitive information. But now Adnan has showed really good demonstration about how we can actually control the sensitive documents to be getting downloaded. Like, we can stop them, and how the organization can protect their own data, which is really fantastic. It's good to see that. Looking at the chat window, we haven't received any questions yet. So I'm just going to open up again for all the attendees, saying, like, please feel free to post your question on the chat window. Or if you feel comfortable, you can unmute yourself and ask the question to Adnan.